When someone is presented with the idea of skepticism, it is often thought of as a bad thing or a close-minded point of view. However, skepticism should instead be thought of as quite the opposite, as it is very important in order to help us as people distinguish between what we should and shouldn't believe. Carl Sagan is credited with the statement, "If you are only skeptical, then no new ideas make it through to you." On the other hand, if you are open to the point of gullibility and have not an ounce of skeptical sense in you, then you cannot distinguish the useful ideas from the worthless ones. Once someone has a skeptical view of something, they then must use logical reasoning or scientific research in order to decipher whether the claims are true or false. However, I've noticed people often do not use these things to come to conclusions, and instead are just gullibly believing and passing on the information. This then causes me to be concerned that we as a society are growing away from using logical reasoning or research to come to conclusions, and instead are believing things simply because we hear them. As a result, people then have knowledge of false information, which could then later impact ideas or decision-making. In the popular television show Ghost Adventures, 3 men by the name of Zach, Nick, and Aaron go all over the country investigating buildings which are claimed to be haunted. Commonly throughout each episode, events will happen which may lead viewers at home to believe there are paranormal occurrences in the building. However, a more skeptical view of what evidence is presented may be useful in helping people distinguish whether or not the evidence is factual. In Season 7, Episode 7, the crew investigates an old casino which is claimed by the owners to be haunted. Sure enough, after a couple hours of investigating, the crew repeatedly seems to hear noise which they claim to sound like doors slamming. The mindset of the crew, and most likely many viewers as well, is that since there is no explanation as to what exactly the noise was, it must be a ghost. However, the team does not even seem to search for any other possible explanation. They immediately just assume it was a ghost. Although this may have been the cause of the noise, there are still many other possible explanations for what the noise was. One of the crew members at one point had even said the noise was just a truck outside of the building. It was also somewhat questionable that while they were hearing all of these doors slam close, they never seemed to find a closed door or capture a door close on camera. The lack of evidence to prove that these noises were actually paranormal occurrences leaves a very big possibility of coincidence. In James Lett's article, A Field Guide to Critical Thinking, he explains his filters method, which stands for falsifiability, logic, comprehensiveness, honesty, replicability, and sufficiency. The vowels are ignored. One can see that the sound of the doors closing then fails the test of replicability, since the crew doesn't try to replicate the occurrences to try to back up their beliefs. The occurrences also fail the test of sufficiency, as the door slamming could easily be coincidence. However, the crew doesn't seem to even discuss the possibility of coincidence or attempt to prove their claim by means of logical reasoning. Instead, the information is then passed on to the viewers at home. This is important because people may then even start to use the same method to explain events in their lives and pass them off as paranormal occurrences as well. However, the blame for lack of scientific reasoning and research cannot be placed entirely on the media or popular TV shows. A popular urban legend states that by shaving body hair, the hair will then grow back thicker and darker than it was before. This urban legend was proven false, but is still commonly believed by many people struggling with unwanted body hair. Instead of doing the research to find the facts behind this common observation, people instead believe that the hair just simply grows back this way, even though it doesn't seem to make sense. People then pass on this false information to others, and are then causing others to believe that their method of removing body hair is actually making it worse as well. It is important for people to use logical reasoning or facts to back up their ideas and support their claims, because without this, we will then not only be believing this legend ourselves, but may also spread the false information to others. This may then cause those people, as well as ourselves, to go to unnecessary measures in order to fix a problem which already has an easier solution or may not even exist. By looking at both of these examples of theories in which people had not used logical reasoning or scientific research to come to conclusions, one can see why this may be detrimental in the future. In the case of the TV show Ghost Adventures, viewers who do not have a skeptical view of the events in the episodes may then not put logical reasoning to the events. This then may cause them to do the same with other events in their lives and believe that there are paranormal occurrences in their own homes. In the case of the urban legend, people who do not use skeptical viewpoints in scientific research may then pass on this false information to others. This could then cause people to become worried about things which could have simply been avoided by using scientific research to discover that the legend is in fact not true, instead of simply believing the false legend. You may be asking yourself, so what? Or why is this important? The truth is, skepticism and reasoning skills are very important for our lives. Without both of these thought processes, we would be hopelessly gullible and fall victim to everything we hear. We could lose our money by falling into scams, go to ridiculous extremes for unnecessary reasons, or even harm ourselves and those around us. By using skepticism and reasoning skills, we sort the good ideas from the bad to help us live sufficient and safe lives.